Nintendo 64 system is one that I absolutely love, and it is no surprise that I want to go for a full worldwide set of video games. And with this whole entire thing that I'm doing, I now have 21 left for a worldwide set. These are the 21 Japanese exclusive games that I need to complete an entire worldwide library, which is just super insane because I never thought that I would be discovering so many of these amazing and fun games, some that probably aren't the best either, but I scored a ton of Japanese ones. Let's go ahead and see the cool things that I found. So first up, we have this game. This is Airboarder 64. This is one that we never got over here in North America, but of course they got it in other areas. This game would have done really well, especially over here with all of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, the snowboarding games. If they would have just, expanded on this, this would have been a fantastic game, but sadly, it is difficult to play. Whenever you're trying to get used to this whole entire controlling system, it just does not feel as good as some of the other games that we enjoy. But over in Europe and Japan, this hoverboarding, or this airboarding as they call it, this would have been so much fun. I'm just shocked that we never got something like this here. And it had these wacky characters, and I feel like this could have been a fun one. So I'm definitely shocked, and I'm curious if you guys remember this Airboarder 64. Now that is not all that I scored. So of course I love this game right here. This is Fighting Force 64. And when I saw these cards here that were never punched, I thought it was really cool because I love pretty much everything for this game. I have the tattoos that came with the game. I have a promo t-shirt that you could also get for this game, but I don't have this Fighting Force strategy guide which says coming soon. So I'm just imagining that this was something to go ahead and promote that. This little card thing where you have all of these awesome characters. You have Mace, you have Smasher, you have Alana, you have Hulk, and it just tells you everything on here. So I feel that this would have been a fun thing to get back in the day, just a cool little promo piece for one of these awesome Nintendo 64 games. And this game right here has turned into one of my enjoyable times that I just love playing. So this is this Puyo Puyo and party game. So this one, they have Puyo Puyo Sun and some others, but these are puzzle games. Now of course they're so much more fun when you're playing couch co-op against your friends, where you can kind of feel that intense nature. When you're, playing against a computer, it's never really as fun, as I love the Nintendo 64 and I love these party games. So I feel this is one that, is definitely worth grabbing just because these are fun. They're quick playing action. You don't need to read all of this stuff. You can just jump right into these games and have a good time. Now this game right here, I actually got this as a gift from my buddy Josh, and this was really cool because this has so much more of a crazy story behind it. So over in Japan, when you played this particular game, you'll notice that it's not really a normal Nintendo 64 game because you actually have this jack here. So I love how it has this crazy history to it. So you have this modem jack, and you get to play online with local people. This is just so cool because it does actually come with this little, jack right here that you would have just plugged in back in the day. But you could locally play with other people over in Japan. You have that cool online capabilities, and I love how it's complete in the box. Now it does have a much larger box than your average Nintendo 64 game. So this is just a really cool one to add into the collection. Just something that you can't really do anymore. I mean, I'm sure someone out there could figure out a way to do something with it, but it's not really something that, we have that around here. Now, I don't even know how to pronounce some of these games, so I'm not even gonna try. But this one right here, I was pretty happy to add this as a boxed game, because this one kind of reminds you of Mario Party, but it doesn't have any mini games, and this is a board game that was before Mario Party. So this one is just very interesting to see kind of what they expanded on. But this one right here, you just have these different characters, and you have to move around the board. You have to find a magnifying glass. You have to find these different objects and these cards, different abilities. and just so much like special objects and just so much going on in this game. But that's kind of how you need to do it. So you have to search around this mansion, and I'm curious if I could find some sort of like English translation on this game just to kind of see how it holds up. Now, these like board game styles will never be as good as like Mario Party just because I grew up with those, but I'm curious if people, you know, grew up with these thinking these were like the best games to play with their friends, you know, or just like what was so special about certain games like these. Now, this game right here I thought was pretty interesting. This is like Hamster 64. So this game, pretty much you have like this hamster cage and you have to take care of this pet. So I found that like very interesting because of a time where, you know, we used to have like those virtual pets, we used to have to take care of them. So you have to raise a hamster. You get to deck out their hamster cage, you have to feed it, and you do like these different hamster races. So they have like different stats and other things. So I'm really curious if there is like anything more to it, or if it's just something that, you know, back in the day with like the Tamagotchis and just everything else, if this is just something that is very similar in a way. So I'm kind of curious to see what is more special about this particular game. Now, this one I'm shocked is not worth even more. This is like this Onagi monster game, and it kind of reminds me of like Pokemon, but mixed with Digimon. So it didn't really take off the same way, you know, of course, because Pokemon had all of the different marketing and everything else, but it is a monster collecting game. So it's kind of like Pokemon, but more in the Digimon world. But there are like so many different types of monsters. And, you know, you have like this premise. I think it's still like, you know, a 10-year-old, and you have like these different monsters. So I think it is like very similar, or like super similar in a way. But this one just really did not take off. They didn't do much with it. And it just kind of lacks the same, you know, nostalgia and everything else that Pokemon has for all of us, and even Digimon. Now, this one is a golf game. This is like Masters 98 something Augusta. So this one right here is a very interesting golf game, and that's pretty much it. It's just you're playing golf, and there are a couple of these, you know, especially on the Nintendo 64, just like sports games that I'll probably never play again, but I'm sure that there were people who were super excited to play this one, especially if you love those golfing games. And this one's still a pretty inexpensive, a pretty cheap game. And I feel like you could find these like at conventions and other places rather easily. So if you enjoy golf and you want to play it, this is probably the way to go. Now, this one is another Mahjong game. They had like so many on the Nintendo 64 over in Japan. This is something that we didn't really have over here, so it's just interesting to see exactly how many there are. So just another one, and I like how this one, from what I can tell so far, so there are some cheats in this game. So they actually had it where you can cheat when you're playing this particular game, which I found very interesting. It's something like pretty difficult and like different. So I just found it rather interesting that they would have that like option in here so that you can have different cheats while you're playing this game. Now, this is the last one. This is this like fishing game pretty much. I'm not really too sure how to pronounce it, but this one right here is just pretty much a story where you get to follow a family as they catch different types of fish. So I'm sure that they have a little bit more to it than just particularly catching fish. So I'll have to do a little bit more research on some of these games here, just kind of see if there are English translations. I know that there are a lot of those on some of these titles, but I'm not just sure on some of, you know, the less expensive games. So I'm really curious if some of these are even worth going through and playing, or if they are like really heavy with text as you're kind of going through. So that'll be something that I look forward to checking out when I go for more of these Japanese games. But just finding out some of these like weird games and different things that they had, different like special things, online play for the Nintendo 64 with like local people over in Japan. That's just mind-blowing to like know about some of this stuff, and just finding even more like promotional stuff. That's always a good time. So I can't wait to see what I find next. And it's just so shocking that I have like 21 games left. So I'm almost under the 20 mark, and then it'll be the countdown from 10. So I can't wait. And of course, are there any games in this slot that you would have enjoyed or that you have played? And which ones do you think I still have left? Of course, there are like more of the expensive titles. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.